Alrighty, what's up everybody? Peter Gilmore here for another video on this Friday afternoon, almost getting close to Friday evening, Friday night here in the Northeast. But Columbus Day weekend, October the 7th, 2022. Thank you all for watching right here on the Peter Gilmore Wrestling Channel, youtube.com/Peter Gilmore. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down below in the description box, otherwise known as down there in my pants. I'll say it, in my pants. But subscribe to this channel and my other channels as well. Show me your love and support, and hit me up on social media if you feel like it. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And share the video all over the internet. Don't forget to tap and slap that bell, treat it like it's your bitch. And hopefully tonight, the Mets will be, slapping the Padres around, but we'll see. But hit the bell, get notified when I do a video, and all that other shit. That's all I gotta say about that. And we'll move on from there. So first, if this is your first time watching, you're just seeing my sexy face, and you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and subscribe to my other channels and show them your love and support as well. And hopefully you like that content as well. And you show your friends and everybody else. And don't forget to tap that bell and hit all notifications so you don't miss a video. And if you do, well, that's just too bad for you. That's pretty much what I gotta say about that. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday! Gotta get down on Friday! It's the weekend, Columbus Day weekend 2022. Gonna be a great weekend for all us Italians out there, because I'm full-blooded Italian, so gonna be a good weekend for that. Most of you have a 3-day weekend, some of you have a 4-day weekend. But enjoy the weekend, everybody. It's going to be nice and cool here in the Northeast after last 2 days have been really fall, well, not even fall. It's like early spring, late spring, early fall, summer-like weather. It was close to 80 today. Wow, 80. And that's the last time we'll see that. Tomorrow's going to be 59 degrees. So it's going to be raining around midnight, then it's going to drop, and then it's going to go back up a little bit by early next week, and then probably by end of next weekend, probably go right back down. So that's what fall is. Usually it's hot, cold, until about end of this month. By Halloween, early November, when we turn clocks back, it's going to start getting cold. Sun's going to go down like 5 o'clock. Right now it's about 6:30. Officially 6:45-ish, but, you know. But it is what it is. So we're counting down the days until the end of the year. 2 months away. And that's pretty much it. Also, 2 months from the greatest day in the world, and you know what that is. That's Christmas, dumbasses. But it is what it is. That's that. Alright. Let's get into it. Let's not wait any time. We got a lot of stuff today. SmackDown coming up in about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. Live SmackDown tonight, the go-home show before tomorrow night's Rules pay-per-view. And then at 10 o'clock, we got a live edition of Rampage from Washington, D.C. So we got that. Then right after that, a taped Rampage Battle of the Belts 4. Coming your way at 11 o'clock. So from 8 to midnight, a lot of stuff going on. And in between that, tonight is Bound for Glory from Impact. Anyway, nobody gonna watch that. But I might watch like a little bit of the replay like later, like after midnight. I might just watch the replay just for that one match. VXT, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo defending the women's tag team titles against the Deadly Dolls, known as Jessica and Taya Valkyrie, with the lovely, vivacious, my demon assassin, my demon bride, Rosemary of the Prophecy. So we'll get that. Hopefully, Hopefully, Jessica and Taya bring the gold back to where it belongs. And we'll see what happens with that. But other good stuff on that card. Got a call your shot Rumble. Winner gets to call his shot at any title in Impact at any time. Also got Josh Alexander defending the Impact title against Eddie Edwards of Honor No More. The tag titles are on the line with the OGK, the original Kingdom. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett with his bitch Maria Kanellis at ringside, taking on Impact's own the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. That's going to be a pretty good match. I think the titles will change because Taven's contract is basically up, and same as Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis. There's rumors they're going to come into WWE. I don't know. That's up to Hunter. I don't know. And Stephanie. Hi, Steph. But could see them in NXT another month or two, probably at the end of the year, maybe early January. We'll see what happens with that. But I think the Honor No More stable is probably going to be done after tonight. So Eddie Edwards will probably go his way. I don't know what his contract status is. Kenny King, probably the same thing. And everybody else in that stable, basically PCO. Actually, I don't think PCO is in that group. Shows you how much I watch Impact. I don't even know who the hell is in Honor No More. So, but the only reason I watch Impact is for Rosemary and the Prophecy, of course. Black Taurus, not Taurus, Taurus, and our good friend Crazy Steve, otherwise known as DK. So we got that. So we'll see what happens tonight, and also tonight at 8 o'clock, maybe 8:07 p.m. Game 1 of the National League Wildcard Series between Los Mets de Nueva York, that's the Mets, taking on the San Diego Padres in Game 1 of the Best of 3 series happening this weekend at Citi Field. It's already sold out. I mean, it is packed. From what I've seen on Twitter, on Mets Twitter, it is packed tonight. 40-something thousand screaming Met fans. Probably wearing black because the Mets are wearing black. They have black jerseys tonight, so it's a blackout night. And got one of our best pitchers on the mound, Max Scherzer, on the mound. Hopefully, he won't do what he did in Atlanta. But he's pitching against another great pitcher, Yu Darvish, who basically owns the Mets. So it's going to be a pretty tough game, maybe a low-scoring game, like a 2-1 game or 3-2, 4-3, something like that. But I think the Mets can get to Darvish early, knock him right out. I don't think I have a problem. But what sucks is they don't have Cookie Carrasco, they don't have Walker, a couple other players that they could have used. They don't have. Really, Carrasco, I think I would have put him in a bullpen, but since Trevor Williams pitched on Wednesday, he's off the roster. But Francisco Alvarez is on the roster. That is a plus. And Sterling Marte is in the lineup tonight, even though he's coming off that finger injury. He can grip stuff now, but I'm a little concerned about him running the bases. God forbid he gets on base and he steals a base. Is he slide head first or does he slide feet first? I think he would do it feet first to not aggravate the injury even more. But Marte's in the lineup. That's a big plus for the Mets. And we'll see what happens tonight at 8 p.m. Earlier today, we had the other game ones. We had the Phillies, the Philadelphia Filthies, coming back from a 2-0 deficit to win that game in St. Louis. That is tough to do. And they had Zach Wheeler on the mound. I'll go figure that one out. So the Filthies are up 1-0. Game 2 tomorrow in St. Louis. And we can see Phillies Braves in the NLDS, which will suck. And we all know who will probably win that one. Hopefully the Phillies. But I'd rather have the Cardinals face the Braves because I think the Cardinals will just wipe the floor with them. But it is what it is. And also in the American League, we had the Cleveland Guardians beat the crap out of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, or Tampa Bay Rays. So they're up 1-0. And the winner of that series faces the Yankees. Please be Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, please come back and win. I really don't want the Guardians and the Yankees. Because you know the Yankees will wipe the floor with them. Just give the Yankees the American League Division Series. Just let them go to the ALCS and get beat up by Houston. Because Houston's waiting for what's probably on right now, Toronto and Seattle. Seattle in their first playoff since God knows when. And we got that. So the Mets are the highlight of the night at 8 p.m. So I'm gonna be channel surfing. Well, I have SmackDown on the rich man's dish over here, and then on the semi-rich desktop, I'll have the Met game on. But because I don't have ESPN, or as we call it, ESPN, I don't have it on my the rich man's cable, which is the package I got. So sucks, but you gotta deal with it. Like Macho Man Randy Savage used to say, "You may not like it, but you must accept it." Oh yeah. You never hit Miss Elizabeth. That's right, Randy. Right on. There you go. So we got a lot of stuff happening tonight and this weekend. We got Extreme Rules tomorrow night on pay-per-view. Also, GCW Fight Club Night 1 from the Showboat Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. That's going to be interesting. So WWE and GCW basically a few miles apart tomorrow night. So see what happens tomorrow night. Could it be Nick fucking Gage's last match ever? Or will Moxley continue on his mighty reign as GCW heavyweight champion, among other matches on that show? And we'll see what happens with that. But I think Extreme Rules is probably the event to see tomorrow besides the Mets game 2, which could be a do or die game. Depending who pitches tomorrow. It might be DeGrom, might be Bassett, who knows. So hopefully the Mets win tonight. We'll have a problem, or may not have a problem tomorrow. I would pitch Bassett tomorrow if we win. And then hope that Bassett just pitches lights out tomorrow, and then we don't have to have DeGrom in game 1 against the Dodgers on Tuesday night. So, but we have to get to Tuesday, and Tuesday's going to be a big night. The Mets are playing, then the Rangers, and then you got NXT. And next week's going to be a big night. I mean, every freaking night is wrestling. Raw on Monday, Tuesday NXT, Wednesday Dynamite, Thursday Rampage, and then Friday SmackDown. Because Rampage won't be on Friday night next week because of baseball. And there you go. And then, as we all know, October the 18th, NXT versus AEW, the same goddamn night, October the 18th, Tuesday night, NXT and Dynamite at the same time. How's anybody going to do a watch-along for that? What do you do a watch-along for? Can only imagine what Issa's going to do that night. What does she talk about? Does she do a NXT watch-along or a AEW watch-along? It's not Wednesday night. I mean, we don't stay up late and watch Kenny Omega while we masturbate, but, you know. We'll see what happens when we get there. And we got the Rangers, game on the 11th, and I will be at MSG. Can't wait for that. It's going to be a big night, Tuesday night. And we'll move on from there. All right, let's get this out of the way because I want to get this done, and I got a ticket. I gotta get this done. I want to watch SmackDown, Rampage, the Mets. So you get that. So your SmackDown Rampage review will probably come early tomorrow. Then I gotta get my Extreme Rules predictions out, hopefully before the pay-per-view. So it's gonna be a busy day tomorrow. So it's a busy day today, but it is what it is. I'm a wreck. I'm still in a heap of pain right now. I was in so much pain. I still couldn't go to freaking physical therapy because I could barely move. So I had to do a light light day of work, so. But I got the weekend off and I got Monday off, so I'm happy. I get the rest. God damn it. Even though I did get invited to the GCW, somebody got me an extra ticket. Am I gonna go? Maybe. Maybe, but you know, I can always watch it at the bar or in New York City. I can watch it anywhere, really. But depends how I feel, and depends, you know, if I feel like getting on the bus down to Atlantic City in time, and then proceed to get hit with a bunch of glass. But you know, because if you sit front row for those shows, you better have insurance. You can get hit with light tubes, like shards of glass, and you can have a wrestler in your lap is bleeding like a faucet. I just changed. Yeah, at least it's worth it. You have a bloody wrestler's blood on your shirt or your skirt. Well, if you're a girl, then that would be bad. Because then be like, what happened? Did you get your period? But we'll see what happens with that, so. Gonna be an interesting weekend. That's all I gotta say. Alright, let's get to your AEW Dynamite 3-year anniversary review. Also, I'll be talking about NXT near the end of this video. So, you get a 2-for-1 special all in one video. So, let's get to it. Let's not waste any time. And, as always, the chat room is wide open like Ruby Sky's legs. But, we got that. Alright. Let's move on. All right, let's start with the AEW 3-year anniversary of Dynamite. And this what Wednesday night was an epic night of action, which has some controversy with the whole Andrade Sammy Guevara thing. And actually, Sammy put up a short about I forgot what it was. It's on his Sammy Guevara YouTube page. There was like outtakes from his vlog, which comes out on Tuesdays. So it's like highlights of his vlog. So I went on the video, and I think he talked a little bit of, he wasn't really talking about Andrade, but a little bit. I forget what it was. Like I said, I forget what it was. I can't remember. My head is spinning anyway. But anyway, I left a comment on that and I told him, Sammy, I don't mean to be mean, but, you know, you kind of started this, you should be at blame, too, for the stuff that you went, for Andrade going home on Wednesday. Said you should have been sent home, too, at least been fined or suspended. So, out of the blue, Sammy Guevara comments back. I got a notification. Sammy Guevara just responded to your comment. I'm like, what? What? And Sammy's like, maybe you should read into, you know, this a little bit more. And I did. And I said, hey, Sammy, I don't mean to be mean. You know, I'm just giving my opinion. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. I didn't say anything mean. I'm not going to say anything mean. I mean, I did the rant. I basically said, fuck you, Sammy Guevara. But that's just my opinion. I mean, if he takes it the wrong way and he, you know, I get the JD treatment, then, oh well. At least I won't get blasted by, like, Braun Strowman or something like that. Maybe Ty Conti will yell at me. I'm like, hey, you yelling at my man! I'm like, shut up! But, you know, it is what it is, and that's that. But, yeah. At least I just got Sammy Guevara commenting. Not the first time a wrestler has commented on my videos on YouTube. I mean, Francine has commented on, comments that I leave on her channel. And also, the lovely Victoria Tara, Lisa Marie Varon, who was on the Rant and Rave podcast last night with Brandon Martin, Jordan Little, and Eric Lima, and everybody else on that show. Go watch it. Their 3-year anniversary show, which was good, and then some trolls got involved in that shit. Morons. But still, it was a good show last night. Special guests of Victoria and Tara. Very good interview. I liked it. So, it's good. Some good shit. And that's all I gotta say about that. Alright, so we get that. right, so we start off the 3-year anniversary of Dynamite with the pyro because it's in a little dinky dink arena in Washington D.C. The Entertainment and Sports Center, where I think they had the last couple of Dynamites the last 2 years. It's a little dinky place. The stage is like really small. They come out like they come out and like the ring is right here. I'm like, no aisle way? Come on now. And basically, I think it's like a basketball arena, like a semi-basketball high school gym or something like that. But anyway, they had a pretty nice crowd. And our commentary team of the man behind the mask, Excalibur, man from Red Hook, brother, Taz, and as always, the third man, the ever popular, the one, the only, the legendary Tony Baloney Schiavone. We got that. Alright, so the main event was the Sexy Gods, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, against Bryan Danielson. Yes! And his tag team partner, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Daniel Garcia, or the team of Daniel Bryan. There you go. So we got that. Also, we got an extra 15 minutes of the show at the end of the show. So we went from 8 o'clock to 10:15. We should do that all the time. But that's not up to me. That's up to TBS. Those idiots at TBS. So we move on. Alright, so we start off with the pyro. And we get right to the action because a little less talk and a lot more action here on Dynamite. And your Dynamite review. So we start off with Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Coco Club. I mean, the Blackpool Combat Club. Takes on our good friend and buddy, Maxwell Jacob Fartknocker, MJF. We had Mr. Legal at ringside. Legal! Hoy Sunshine Wookings! So we had him at ringside. On commentary. Match was pretty damn good. Pretty damn good to start the show. Then during the match, we find out about the Andrade Sammy Guevara situation, the fight backstage. Andrade got sent home. He really wants to get fired. Andrade is doing this to get fired from AEW, but AEW really doesn't want to fire him. So what I think Tony Khan should do is just say, you know what, stay home, bang Charlotte Flair for the next 5 months. I don't give a shit how long. Stay home, and you basically don't have to work. Don't come to the arena. Just stay home, collect your goddamn paycheck that Tony Khan gives you. And until you clear your head and get your brain back in order, maybe we'll allow you back. But that's up to Sammy. Sammy has to shut his fucking mouth sometimes too, Sammy's got to cool his jets a little bit, whether he likes it or not. And I told you, Sammy, it's an opinion. You need to, if you want to end the drama between, all the drama and shit, shut the fuck up. Just go to the arena with your Ty Conti. Go have your banger of a match. Just hang out with Jericho. And just stop the drama. Just stay away from people. Stay off the fucking Twitter machine. And, just stay off the internet, basically. That's all I gotta say about that. But anyway, so we start off the match with Wheeler Yuta sending MJF in the corner. Then MJF hits the Ric Flair woo strut. My God. Then he got a drop kick, just annoys MJF. So he takes Yuta down, then grabs a 1905 chin lock. To get back up, MJF grabs a tilt-a-whirl face plant, for a near fall. As we go to break, we come back with Wheeler Yuta whipping MJF hard into the corner, not like that. Grabs a inside cradle, small package. Small package right there, MJF. Sorry, Max. Anyway, I shouldn't say anything bad about MJF because he did wear a Met jersey in Philly, so I had to give him some points. I don't even think he's a Met fan. If he is, that makes my hatred for him a little bit less. But he's an Icelander fan, so I have to take some brownie points off. Because he's from Long Island. Plainview, Long Island, a shithole. But it is what it is. We get that. So he gets a small package for a near fall. Yuta grabs some rolling German suplexes for a near falls. Goes for a Hurricanrana, gets countered into a powerbomb on the knee. Ow. Then we get a whole bunch of pinfall reversals, which made the crowd very happy. This is awesome! Hey, Mike, awesome! Yeah, Mike, it was awesome. Yeah, I know! I was there! No, you weren't. Yeah, I was in the crowd. How come I didn't see you? Oh, yeah, I forgot I'm a ghost. Damn it! He's a ghost. He's in the rafters somewhere, like with Sting, maybe. I don't know. I got powerbomb Sting off the rafters and through a table. Right on, Mike. Anyway, so get back up. We get a double clothesline for a double down, and the crowd goes even like, yeah, this is great. And everything takes him up for a super tombstone. Tries for the super tombstone, but gets counted into a super Hurricanrana by Mr. Wheeler Utah. So MJF was trying for a super That's Incredible by Just Incredible. So anyway, Yuta goes up for a splash. MJF rolls away, and then because he did that like 3 times during this match. Then when it looked like Yuta was going for this frog splash, MJF's like, "Oh, I'm gonna roll away," and he's like, "Fuck you! You can't hit it from here." So Yuta's like, "Oh yeah." Whoosh. Went like 3/3 of the ring, and it hits MJF with a beautiful splash for a near fall. Then he tries for the seat belt, was I guess his finisher. But MJF reverses into Salt of the Earth, and Utah tapped out at exactly 15 minutes. But pretty damn good match, 3.5 out of 5 stars. For that, what can you say? Pretty damn good start to the show. And that's pretty much it. So 3.5 out of 5 stars for that. After the match, Wheeler Yuta gets up, wants a code of honor. It is kind of like a ring of honor. So he wants a code of honor with MJF, and you're just like, maybe I might shake your hand. And then out of nowhere, Lee Moriarty, the man with the green hair, I thought it was Dennis Rodman for some reason. Remember when Dennis Rodman had that weird hair? Rodzilla! Back in the NWO. So he jumps him from behind, and MJF's kind of pissed, like, what are you doing, dude? And then we see Stokely Hathaway comes out on the apron, and he starts yelling at Max, gives him the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and Max is like, I don't want to do that, I want to beat him up, I'm a prick, but, I don't want to beat him up. So he puts it on reluctantly. He's about to knock out Wheeler Yuta with the Dynamite Ring, and then Mr. Eagle gets off commentary, and he puts on the brass knuckles, and I think he said, knuck up or shut up or something like that. So he goes to the ring, as we see Stokely Hathaway and Lee Moriarty just leave because they don't want none of Regal. And then Regal and MJF have a stare down, and that's basically it. So Regal got a nice reaction, putting on the knucks, because we all know he's done that before in WCW and a little bit of WWE too. So I don't think MJF wants any part of Mr. Regal. And there you go. And that's that. And we move on from there. Alright, then we get a video about Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. So just to hype the main event. Then we go to the back with Tony Baloney and the Jericho Appreciation Society. We had Jericho, Jake Hager, the people, wearing that stupid purple Grimace hat. Speaking of Grimace. Hi kids, it's Grimace. Oh, look at me. I got 4 eyes. Yeah, I bought the adult Happy Meal. What do you want me to do? It's cheap. Not that cheap, but, So blah blah blah. So we get Jake Hager with the Funkasaurus hat. Then we had the lovely Anna J.A.S. with Ty Conti. Well, actually, yeah, she was there. Sammy's there too, and then 3.0, well 2.0, 3.0, what do you want to call him? Daddy Magic, Matt Maynard, and Angelo Parker. They were there, and basically Jericho, basically saying, me and Sammy are gonna beat your ass tonight, and then that's gonna be a promise. And then Jericho and Schiavone's like, you say tomato, I say tomato, Schiavone. And he's just staring at a hole in the camera. And as soon as Sammy Guevara got on, started his side of the promo, the fans will booed him out the building because I guess they found out that Andrade got sent home. Sucks for you, Sammy. That's all I gotta say about that. And we'll move on from there. Alright. So I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, I'm gonna read the comments and I gotta step away for just a second and I'll be right back. So after these comments, I'm gonna step away for a second. Alright, Real Gary Sport Guy, my good buddy from the UK's here, as always. Excuse me. He says, hi, Pete. Oh, howdy. Yeah, Andrade wants to leave. That's probably why he punked Sammy. Agree. Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, he said in an interview that he wants to get fired from AEW. I don't know where he's going to go next. Possibly back to WWE. Maybe rekindle his thing with Selena Vega, his manager, Selena Vega. But there's talk that Selena Vega might be in Legado del Fantasma, so they're going to Spanish Archer Miss Elektra Lopez out. I don't know. I think that's a good idea. It's very Elektra Lopez, as fine and hot as she is, she's just there. She's not that great in the ring. She's just there. I think Selena Vega is an upgrade. That's just me. But like I said, Elektra Lopez, a fine, hot, caliente lady. That's all I gotta say about that. So same thing with Selena Vega. I mean, she's from Queens, so what do you expect? That's all I gotta say about that. So we'll see what happens with Andrade, if he's gonna stay home and get paid, or not paid. I guess not paid because Tony Khan's like, oh. But I still think Sammy Guevara should have got some type of punishment. But, Tony Khan's got that whole thing with the Bucks and Kenny, which is still going on. They're still suspended because, one side wants to keep going with the legal proceedings and everything. We don't know who that might be. It could be Punk, it could be the Bucks, it could be Kenny, it could be a Steel, I don't know. This is getting ridiculous. Just get over it, shut the fuck up with the legal proceedings, get back in the fucking ring already. That's what you want. You want your problem solved? Get in the fucking ring. We'll just have Punk and FTR against Bucks and Kenny. Problem solved at Full Gear. For the Ring of Honor and probably all the freaking belts. All the tag belts on the line. Why not? Let the Elite win all those belts. The IWGP, the AAA, and the freaking the Ring of Honor tag team belts. Why not? The Bucks pin FTR, they get one of the belts. If Kenny pins one of the FTR, well, he gets the belt too. So maybe they'll do can't be a trios match, but it would be a trios match, but not for the trios titles, unless somehow that they get them. But I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that crap. With the Bucks and Kenny and Punk. There's stories that AEW might buy out Punk's contract. I don't think that's going to happen. People doing videos saying, CM Punk going back to WWE 2023. He's going to be at the Royal Rumble. We don't know who that person is. The fucking clown. I'm telling you, I don't think... He probably didn't read the copyright he usually does. He just comes out with these stupid things. Oh, CM Punk, 2023, come back to WWE every freaking year. Gotta get one out right before the end of the year, right? Idiot. Fucking Mark he is. But I digress. Anyway, alright, I'm a little bit over my time. Anyway. Alright, second comment from Will Rouse says, Sammy Guevara annoying, not a fan of Sammy at all. He causes problems, Eddie, now Andrade. Well, Eddie Kingston, obviously. Not Eddie Guerrero, they say. Why would he have a problem with me? I'm Latino. He's a piece of crap, pendejo. I like to take Ty Mello and show her my Latino heat. Oh, I'm sorry, Mamacita. I didn't mean it. Up. Trying to beat him up. Eddie, you need to stop. But yeah, Sammy causes way too many problems in the back. He really does. And online. Just need to, like I said, shut the fuck up. That's pretty much it. That's that. Alright, I gotta step out for just a second. I will be right back after this message. From Mattel. No, I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Just had to take care of some business. Not that type of business, but, you know, I didn't have to go to the bathroom or anything. I just had to take care of some business because I had to rush out this Mrs. Wants something really quick, so I ran, came back. But it is what it is. We're back. We're live. We're back. Alright. Hope you didn't miss me too much. But anyway, I know the trolls did, but fuck them. Fuck those assholes. But anyway, we move on. Alright, come back from that. Alright, Will Rouse says, oh my god! There's 4 shows on tonight. Rampage, SmackDown, Battle of the Belts, Impact pay-per-view. Don't forget the Mets. Really 5 shows with 4 wrestling shows and the Mets in between. Damn. That's a lot of stuff to watch tonight, dude. And if you don't have picture-in-picture, you're fucked. Well, I'm fucked because I don't have ESPN on the rich man's dish. I have to watch it on a stream. Or listen to it on the radio. For free. So, get that. But, should be alright. Alright, do something here. Go on. Thank you. Gotta put some extra lights on because the sun's about to go down. So it's just about getting close to Friday evening, 6:21 p.m. right now. So we're getting there. Getting there pretty soon by the end of I would say right before Halloween. It'll be like 6 o'clock at night. The sun goes down, and then gotta wait about 10-15 minutes, and then it's officially dark. So by 6:15 on Halloween, it's dark, and then all the kiddies will come out, and then it's Halloween. It's Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Halloween. Not a big fan of Halloween. A movie, yes, which comes out next Friday, by the way. Halloween ends the supposed final movie. The final Halloween movie, which is a lie. That's a lie. They tell you it's the final one, but then it's not. Remember how Friday the 13th, 9? Remember how that ended? We all remember Friday the 13th, the final Friday. Where basically Jason dies. And then you see Freddy Krueger's hand come out of the grave, and it's like, basically he sends Jason to hell. Well, Jason Goes to Hell, and that's what the movie's called. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, or Friday the 13th Part 9, which was supposedly supposed to be the last one, but it led into Jason versus Freddy, or Freddy versus Jason. But then in between that had that stupid, I don't know why it was made, Jason 10 or Jason X. That was horrible. Had no plot. I'm like, okay, first of all, how does Jason get into a spaceship? Then he gets turned into a cyborg. That made no sense there. And he basically kills everybody on the ship, even the hot girl robot that was supposed to be like Data from Star Trek Next Generation, where she had big hooters and everything. But Jason killed her, and I felt really bad about that. But in any event, that movie was garbage, and Jason dies while just getting sucked out of the spaceship. And then he gets blown to bits because of the gravity in space and everything. Well, that's a stupid way to die. Or as the great band Disturbed used to sing, "It's just another way to die!" Great song. Great song. I love that song. Among other songs by Disturbed I like. And they got their new album coming out pretty damn soon called Divisive. So, go pick it up now on Spotify. Download on Spotify now. Or just get the physical copy, whenever you want. In This Moment's new record comes out in 2 weeks! Not even a new record, it's just an EP. It's an EP of 4 songs just reimagined in a 1983 setting. But it's called Blood 1983. You can get it now on Spotify. I don't know if the pre-order is done. I think you still pre-order it on the merchandise, on the official In This Moment website in their merch store. I think you still can pre-order the album and some merchandise too for Halloween, which I did. I just have to finish my Halloween order. I have to actually put the order in next week, and it's supposed to be shipped on the 21st, supposedly. So I'm going to get it right before Halloween. So that's going to be a mega unboxing. I don't know what's going to come in, but got 2 shirts coming in. And of course the CD, the EP CD, whatever you want to call it. And I'm also getting some glow-in-the-dark mittens. And no, they're not for you, Mikey. Mikey Mittens. Not for you, sir. I know his name is Mittens. We call him Mittens, the interstate gigolo, the guy that goes to every goddamn fucking indie show. That guy is loaded with money. He's gonna be at GCW tomorrow night. Like, I see him? Probably not. But that guy gets around more than me. The guy's only 20, dude, goddamn, he's like 22, 23 years old. I know him since he was 14. Guy's like, this guy, this tall. As we all know him as the CM Punk kid. Most of you do, most of you don't. But we call him Mittens, and he is hardcore to the bone. He's taking light tubes to the stomach, to the head. He's taking a 10-pound jug of water to the head. He's gotten put through doors and boards, and the guy is nuts. But for a guy that's 23 years old, he's in the business. The guy's a legend. Legend in these parts. And everywhere else, but yeah. It is what it is, and that's that. But yeah, Jason X, horrible movie. Even the remake they did, a Friday the 13th remake with what's his name? Jared Padalecki from Supernatural as the main protagonist. Wasn't even that great. Not that good. And even the Chucky Reborn stuff. You know, Chucky the season 2 was on Wednesday. I didn't even see it. I thought I had it on DVR. Somehow it didn't record. I don't know why. Something wrong with my DVR. What else is new? But I have to. Good thing I put it on reruns. So now I'm gonna get the reruns. I'm gonna have to watch the first one and the new one coming up this Wednesday. But even the Chucky revival movies, Cult of Chucky stunk. Curse of Chucky was okay, not great, but still. Cult of Chucky, no. I didn't like that one. I didn't even like Seed of Chucky that much. But there might be another one coming down the road, I don't know. But the TV series is great. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, I didn't like that because I had Kelly from the Bad News Bears in it playing the lead. I forgot what his name is. I forgot his name, but who played him, but it's Kelly from the Bad News Bears movies. It basically was an origin type movie of Nightmare on Elm Street, where how Freddy got the glove and what happened with him, being a pedophile, basically. It was kind of creepy, but it wasn't really my cup of tea back then. But so I don't know if they're gonna do another one. I doubt it. That's up to, well, depends on who plays Freddy. It's not gonna be Robert Englund, even though he wants to play Freddy one more time before he's dead. And he's not getting any younger. But we'll see what happens with that. There may be another Friday the 13th coming out. But yeah, Halloween Ends comes out next Friday. Like I said, the supposed final chapter in the Laurie Strode saga. Still don't know how it actually ends. But supposedly Jamie Lee Curtis's character of Laurie Strode does die, along with Michael, or does he? I mean, there's so many people online on Twitter saying how this ends, and people saying, oh, Michael does die, but there's a copycat. Like, to do a Halloween 5, or actually the end of Halloween 4 going into 5, when the girl turns into Michael at the end, picks up the knife and is like, and then we hear Dr. Loomis like, no! No, not you, no! Which basically we saw in the first Halloween of this series. The first Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back, we saw at the end one of her daughters kind of pick up the knife and kind of looked like we thought she had Michael's powers and everything, but didn't really see much of that in Halloween Kills. So the sequel to that one. Now, Michael's going after Laurie Strode again for the final time, and Laurie's like, well, the only way to kill him is if I die. Well, yeah. And they have a pretty epic, from what I've seen in the trailers and everything, they have a pretty epic fight scene. Like, one point, like Laurie's, like, on top of him on the counter and like, stabs Michael in the head and just, like, I thought it like stabs him in the head and, like, you see his mask is, like, come off. So maybe we'll see Michael with a face where we've seen that before in the Rob Zombie movies. Which the second one was better than the first one. But we'll see what happens with that. Is it going to be a copycat, or does Michael actually die? But I still think there's going to be another reboot coming in probably another couple of years with a different storyline. Like the daughters start fighting Michael's copycat, or I don't know what. But just wait till the end of this movie coming out next week. There may be an Easter egg at the end. I would assume there might be. But it's going to be an interesting ending to that movie. And if there's a after credit scene where like Michael like maybe gets up on the grave or something like that, maybe we'll see like Jason and Freddy's like, get out here! Which may lead into the what we've been saying for 20 goddamn years, Michael versus Freddy versus Jason. And maybe Chucky near the end somewhere. It is what it is. I did not see the new Hellraiser yet, but I heard good things about it. The female Pinhead. So, not a big fan of like a female Pinhead, but from what I heard, the actress who plays Pinhead is pretty damn good. So I gotta go see it. And also, there's a movie called Terrifier 2 that just came out. I haven't seen 1, so how am I supposed to see 2? But good stuff coming up. It's for the holidays and everything. For you horror fans. That's that. Where are we here? Okay. Getting back to Mr. Will Rowdy Sport Rowdy. I'm going to watch Impact myself. I hope Mickie James doesn't lose to Mia Yim tonight. She retires if she loses. No! Nah, she's winning. She's winning. There's no way that Mia Yim is going to win. Mia's contract is up after tonight anyway. And there's rumors that she's going to AEW to be with her boy toy, Keith Lee. So we'll see what happens with that. I think Mickey's gonna win, but who does she lose to? Maybe she loses to Rosemary. I doubt that, but you know, never know. But I would think if Mickie James does like lose, it has to be at a major pay-per-view, like Bound for Glory or Hard to Kill. I don't even know it's a major pay-per-view, but I would do it at a major pay-per-view like Slammiversary next year. That's what I would do. And we'll see what happens with that. Also tonight, Raven. What about me? What about Raven? Tommy. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tommy Dreamer's going to be there tonight to, I guess, induct Raven into the TNA Hall of Fame. Well, the Impact Hall of Fame, whatever you want to call it. That should be fun. I love to see Raven kick Tommy in the nuts and give him a DDT. On some barbed wire. You know that feud will never end. It's like never going to end. It's like Generico and Steen, never going to end. It is what it is. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So also, I mentioned this last on my rant last night. I don't know if you heard it there, right? But anyway, new commentary. I don't know if it begins tonight on SmackDown. I assume it might. Well, it is. It's the season premiere. So probably new commentary tonight. Michael Cole and Bad News Wade Bennett. I'm afraid I got some bad news for you, Michael Cole. Right on. So that should be interesting tonight. But what happens with Pat McAfee in January? I don't know. He's going to be a backstage interviewer, or he's just going to be like a special analyst or something like that. I don't know. But they're doing away with the 3-man announce team, which is thank the Lord for that. But these teams look like shit. Besides SmackDown, look like shit. Case in point, this Monday on Raw, Jimmy Smith got fired by Triple H because he blurted it out. Sucks to be you, Hunter. But yeah, Jimmy Smith is gone. And now, on Raw is going to be Kevin Patrick and Corey Slave. Where's Byron go? Well, Byron's going backstage. Thank the Lord for that. Byron should really be Spanish Archer out of the company. He's boring. So backstage, you're going to have Sarah Schreiber and Byron Saxton with Kathy Kelly, who's coming back. I found out that today from my good buddy Joey. That Kathy Kelly's coming back to WWE after a little bit of a hiatus. Well, not hiatus. She did get, I think, released, or she just got, I don't know what happened to her. But yeah, Kathy Kelly's coming back with, Caleb Braxton's going to be on SmackDown with Erin Moore on. That's that. And on NXT, it's going to be Vic Joseph and Booker T, sucker! So Booker T went from Raw to SmackDown, now to NXT, so he downgraded. Great. At least we get Booker T on Tuesday nights. Black Snow. It is what it is. So commentary's not going to look that good on Raw and NXT, but SmackDown's good. I think, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett could be good, but not as great as Michael Cole and Taz. Just saying. But we'll see what happens tonight, and then Monday night and Tuesday night in WWE land. There you go. Also with that. Alright, we move on. Alright. Hi, you back? I did not miss you. Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Joking with you. I know you were. We joke here. We have fun. If you can't take a joke, get the fuck out. Anyway, that film sounds crap, Jason. Yeah, Jason X. You know what's another horrible Friday the 13th? Number 5. 4 and 5. 4 and 5 were, 3, first 2 were great. 3 was really weird because it looked like it was in 3D. Was in 3D, but it wasn't really that good. 4 was meh, not that great. 5 stunk. And then it came back with 6, which was a little bit better. And then Jason Goes to Manhattan, which I didn't really like that much. Except for one fight scene, that's it. And then Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday was okay, nothing great. But then Jason X just killed it. And that's pretty much it. My favorite Nightmare on Elm Street is 1, 4, well 3 and 4. Because it has epic music in both of them. Dawkins' Dream Warriors from the Dream Warriors movie, which I think was number 3. Yeah, I think it was 3, because 4, I forget what the name of 4 was. 5 was The Dream Child. And which was pathetic. 5 stunk. Made Freddy Krueger like a freaking superhero, like a big freaking superhero. More powerful than a motherfucker. Like, what? Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That was great. Love that one. And then, The Final Nightmare, I forget what Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare was okay, not great. My favorite Halloween Michael Myers movie of all time. This is going, not the Rob Zombie movies, I'm not talking about that, or the new ones, even though the first couple have been okay. My favorite one is number 1, of course, number 2, and then number 4, when he actually comes back, because number 3 made no sense. Halloween Season of the Witch, no sense. I don't know. People still like that movie for some odd reason. Why? I don't know. Michael's not in the movie. It just kind of killed the franchise. Nobody liked it, and then the people that were, I don't know if John Carpenter was directing that movie. I forgot. I think it was some other people directed that, and they just called it Halloween Season of the Witch. It's just horrible with a stupid pumpkin thing, you know. But then Michael comes back with a vengeance in number 4. But we don't know, what happened between 2 and 3. Comes back in 4, which is great. Number 5 was was good. 6, not so much. And then H2O was okay. Resurrection, meh. And then I hated the first Rob Zombie one stunk because basically went all over the place with the plot and had really it's supposed to be like the original, but really wasn't. Some of the elements of 1 were not in the original. They're just reimagined. Like, okay, why is this woman in that bed? It was supposed to be Laurie Strode's bed, which makes no sense. It didn't make sense, and then number 2 was actually good. The ending was great. Which was supposed to lead into number 3, which I don't think Rob Zombie ever made the 3rd one. But still, we get that. Alright, we move on from there. Alright, so that's your good Halloween movies stuff. Alright, let's get back to your AEW Dynamite review, and we'll get to NXT in a little bit too. Alright, so we ended off with the Jericho Appreciation Society. They're not happy with Daniel Garcia, and they promise punishment on him. And then Jericho mentions his match with Bryan Danielson next week in Toronto, Canada, which is going to be Danielson versus Jericho 3 for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So see what happens with that. And we move on. Like I said, 2.5 out of 5 stars. All right, then we go to our next match. Darby Allin taking on Black Machismo. Ooh, yeah, did. Jay Lethal by himself. No sign of Sting. Satnam Singh and the original player from the Himalaya, Sanjay Dutt, were not at ringside, but they do come out after the match. Match was pretty good. They go back and forth. So, we got a little bit of a stalemate the start. Lethal then sends Darby to the floor. Darby comes right back in for a springboard arm drag. Then we get another standoff. But Lethal gets smart. Goes after Darby's knee, but he gets caught in the Scorpion Death Drop for a double down. As we go to break, we come back. Jay Lethal stays on the knee, including a Super Dragon leg screw. Ow! Then Lethal, being Lethal, slaps on the woo! Nature boy! Figure 4. Because that's, one of his signature moves, because you know how he does an epic fucking Ric Flair impersonation. Epic. And same thing with Macho Man. Darby makes the ropes. He gets up, the leg is fine enough for a near fall off a Code Red. And then Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh come down. Lethal's like, get to the back, this is one-on-one, I don't want no interference, I want to be one-on-one. So, that leads to a pinfall reversal sequence, back and forth pinfalls. Then Darby grabs the Last Supper pin, 1, 2, 3, he gets the win in a little over 10 minutes. And that's pretty much it for that. So Darby gets the win. And I gave the match 3.25 out of 5 stars. After the match, Lethal wants to shake Darby's hand. And Sanjay and Satnam Singh are like, no, what are you doing? No. And he shakes his hand reluctantly anyway. And Satnam Singh and Sanjay were not pleased, even though Jay was not pleased to do it anyway. So we got that. So we got 2 Code of Honors tonight. Well, not last night. Well, Wednesday night, I should say. We got that. So it's good. We'll see what happens with that. And we'll move on. All right, then we got a video on the Machine, Brian Cage, and the Embassy. My good friend, Prince Nana. And also the Gates of Agony. So we got that. So that leads us into the TNT title match with Brian Cage and Prince Nana. Came out ringside. Take it on Wardlow. So this was a pretty good match, big beefy men slapping meat match. Pretty much back and forth they went. Getting to the end, I'm gonna paraphrase some of the ending because I have to get ready of things to do after this. Get ready for SmackDown and get on East's chat in about a half hour from now. So I want to get ready for that. So anyway. So we get an apron superplex for a near fall on Wardlow. Gets back up with a spine buster. But Cage comes right back with an F5. Tries his own powerbomb symphony. But Wardlow headbutts him a few times. Then he hits not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 powerbombs to retain the title. 1, 2, 3 at a little over 10 minutes. Match was pretty damn good. 3.25 out of 5 stars. After the match, the Gates of Agony come out for a basically 3-on-1 beatdown on Wardlow. Samoa Joe comes out, because he's teaming with Wardlow in, I guess you can call him War Joe. He runs down for the save, but he gets beat up a little bit. And then FTR come out for the actual save. And then we find out that at Battle of the Belts is going to be for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Belts. FTR teaming up to take on the Gates of Agony. I assume that, FTR is going to win. So finally getting booked. That's pretty much it. Because they haven't really defended those Ring of Honor tag titles in a while. Same thing with the AAA titles and the IWGP tag team titles. What are they doing with them? The show's going on in Japan. I'm like, what's going on here? I wonder if they're going to defend them on October the 27th and 28th. That's in New York City. Am I going? Probably not. Probably not. I want to go to the 28th show because the 27th I may not be able to go because it's a certain person's birthday that day. Very special to me, but I may or may not go to the 27th if there's even tickets left, but I have to see what happens with that. But the 28th, I probably will not be going. The actual show, Rumble on 44th Street. At the Palladium, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I doubt it. I might just save my money and do something else those 2 days. Probably that weekend, I'm probably going to the Halloween parade and Halloween stuff, karaoke bars and shit with people, and that's it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll go. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll move on. All right, so we got that on Battle of Belts tonight. All right, so we got that. All right, then we get a video. We have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, baby, talking about Paige Saraya, saying that she's not clear to wrestle. What doctors do you know that says she's not clear to wrestle? And she basically says, AEW is my house. So we'll see what happens with that. So I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. Then we go to a trios women's match. We got the AEW Interim Women's Champion, Toni Storm, Athena, and Willow Nightingale taking on Penelope Ford, Serena Deeb, and Jamie Hayter with Britt Baker, Bebe, and Rebel at ringside. Saraya Page at ringside as well. So they cancel that out. So it was a pretty good match. Surprisingly, a women's match at the death slot. Kind of was a pretty decent match. Not great, but decent. We had Toni Storm, Athena, and Willow Nightingale get the win after Penelope's handspring elbow is broken up, and then Willow Nightingale hits a doctor bomb to get the win in about 9.5 minutes. Match was okay, like I said, 3 out of 5 stars. Afterwards, we had a humongous stare down between Britt Baker and Paige. They get in each other's face. Paige hits Britt with her forearm. They go at it. We got a cow fight, and then everybody else starts fighting. And then Paige throws Britt Baker out of the ring, and everybody else clears the ring, and then Paige is just left with Rebel. Poor you. She gets a low super kick to the face, knocks her out. So just a matter of time when she's actually gonna have her first official match. Hopefully on Dynamite, or they might just save her for, I think it's going to be Full Gear against Britt Baker, which is going to be an epic match. Now we'll see what happens with that. But she is cleared to wrestle, medically cleared to wrestle, just a matter of time when she wrestles. But we'll see what happens with that. Alright, we'll move on from there. Alright, then we go to the back with Tony Maloney, and he has Private Party with him, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. They're talking, and then whoosh! And Jose Jalapeno on a stick. No, Jose, the assistant, come in, and they're not pleased at what happened with Private Party. That, they show Roosh coming out and beating down Hangman Adam Page. Stuff like that. And then, Jose tells them, it's like, don't go back to Matt Hardy, something like that. But they are. So it is what it is. So that's that. So I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. All right, then we go to National Scissoring Day. Probably the most epic segment in AEW history. I love this segment. So we had the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, scissor me, daddy ass! So they come out. The champs talk about the success, and AEW now stands for Acclaimed every Wednesday. Anthony Bowens talks about how scissoring is something that makes you friends and partners, because we all know he's gay, and Matt Caster is bi, and Billy Gunn's just weird. And Billy Gunn's going to be at the DX reunion on Monday. Oh, I can imagine a crowd for that. As soon as the music stops, we're going to get, oh, scissor me daddy, on Raw. Maybe Hunter will say, shut up! I'm not going to make the Brooklyn crowd shut up. Especially for Billy Gunn. You're going to be hearing scissor me daddy, daddy ass, all freaking through that promo. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Let's see here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, I have to step out for the bathroom. This time I have to actually go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're back. I just had to run in and run out, and I did wash my hands. Certain people don't do it. But that's it. Alright. So we move on. Alright. So Anthony Bowen says scissoring is something that makes you friends and partners. So the fans want a real team rather than two people just thrown together like Keith Lee and Swerve. They dubbed them Sneaky Swerve. So we get that. And then Billy Gunn talks about how this is a special day, and he presents the team with a present from City Hall. We think it's the key to the city, but I think we all know better. And it's a giant gold scissor. Interesting. And then we see, I think it was Anthony Bowen starts running with it and going like, ah! And then Bill's like, hey, no running with scissors, please. That's funny. Bones wants to see some more scissoring, but Max Caster talks about his dad winning the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, what number was it, 16 or 17, from the Washington Redskins at the time, way back when. He says that his dad still wears his Super Bowl ring. It's his most prized possession. And now he's that's like, I'm a champion too. But for now, we are in a city that represents the divided America, and we should all, band together. And we're going to have, a good old-fashioned scissoring party between the left and the right, and red and blue, blah, blah, blah. So about to get a load up for the three-way scissoring to unite America, when then Swerve comes out, Prince Idol's cousin, he comes out. He wants the titles back, doesn't like Billy Gunn all that much. Then he pulls out a rock, and he says, rock always beats scissors. I'm like, well, we gotta get a rock, paper, scissors thing now. Pretty much. So we got Billy Gunn and Swerve next week on Dynamite from Toronto. And then of all people, smart Mark Sterling comes out and basically wants to wants the Acclaimed to accept his services and shit. I'm like, why? But basically he gets beaten down for his troubles. And then Swerve goes to leave, but Billy Gunn's like, hey, hold up a second. I accept your challenge for next week. And then we get the three-way scissoring between all three guys, and everybody's happy, and everybody's going to go home and scissor their significant other, probably, I don't know. But we get that. So I gave that 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is freaking epic. Yeah, I may be biased, but I don't give a shit. That's what it is. I like how near the end of the show, I think it was near the end of the show, I think it was like Tony Schiavone was asking, I think, Ian Riccaboni about scissoring. Okay. And then Ian Riccaboni mentions his 10-year anniversary to his wife. Not that I give two shits, but happy anniversary to you, Ian Riccaboni. Bonnie. Good for you. And that's pretty much it for that. Alright, I have to step out again because I have to step out a lot because now the missus needs me for a second. So I'll be give me like 5, let me do 2 more segments and I'm gonna get out. Alright, then we see the Dark Order ready to win the trios titles on Rampage. They're not gonna win. Maybe because it's Brody Lee's anniversary of his final match. Alright, then we got Madison Rayne praising Sky Blue, and then Ty Mello and Anna Jay come in. They're gonna have a tag team match on Rampage that nobody cares about. And that's pretty much it for that. Alright, I have to step out because the missus needs me. More interruptions, so I'll be right back one more time. And that's, I'll be back. Give me like 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Not like that 2 minutes, but you know what I mean. Be right back. Alright, we're back. But, alright, we're back. I apologize, I have to end the video a little bit abruptly. So I'm just going to run through the results of Dynamite and then NXT. So, alright, so after that, we got Hangman Adam Page and Roosh. Hangman Adam Page wins with a buckshot lariat. So there you go. After that, Private Party come out. They're about to attack Adam Page, but Moxley comes out. Him and Page have a little bit of war words. Which I'm like, Moxley, I respect you, kid, but, Page wanted to fight right now. And Moxley's like, you got 13 days to watch your damn mouth. So, we'll see what happens in the next week or so. We'll get that. All right, Willow Nightingale wants to be the TBS champion, so she challenges Jade Cargill. And she says that she's going to be the 1 in 38-1. So I think that match is going to be at Battle of the Belts. I think Jade's going to retain. But we got that. All right, then we got a 23-second suckfest. Luchasaurus squashed Fuego del Sol. And then afterwards, Jungle Boy comes in with a chair and knocks Luchasaurus to the outside. Says, and then tells Luchasaurus, I'm going to beat you up and stuff like that. Christian says, no, we're going to do this next week on Dynamite in Toronto. There you go. See what happens with that. All right, then we hear from Pac, who's ready for Trent Beretta. He's going to be defending the All-Atlantic Championship at Battle of the Belts, but on Rampage, he's going to defend the Trios titles against the Dark Order, like I said, with his friends Pentagon, Zero, Miedo, and Rey Fenix. I don't know if they're going to give Dark Order the titles because of Brody Lee's final match anniversary, but we'll see tonight. All right, then we go to your main event. We got Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia taking on Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Pretty back and forth match. We're getting near the end. We got a nice GTH into a power driver. That was pretty nice and sick. But we're getting near the end. Jericho suplexes Danielson through the table, even though Danielson hit his back on the table, broke halfway. I am the table! But then he actually breaks the table. Then Sammy's shooting star press hits the knees on Daniel Garcia. He locks in the Dragon Tamer, which gets broken up with a Jericho belt shot, which you knew was coming because how Garcia maneuvered himself to the ropes and he ducked his head, boing, right in the head. And then Sammy steals the pin, 1, 2, 3, almost a 14.5-minute match. But it was still a pretty decent match, and I gave it 3.25 out of 5 stars. And that ends your 3-year anniversary Dynamite show. And I gave it 8 out of 10 stars. And that's pretty much it for that. All right, quickly run through NXT. We had a segment with the Yes Boys. Ooh, pretty deadly. Coming out like they're part of the Commonwealth. Just have a ridiculous segment. And then Butch and Ridge Holland come out. They challenge them for the tag team belts at the end of the show. So that was pretty good. Then we had Carmelo Hayes come out right after that. Oh, actually, I take that back. Then we see Toxic Attraction Gigi and JC Jane come in the parking lot. And we all know they never go in the parking lot. They get beat up by Alba Fire, who gets in the car. Assumingly, I think she's kidnapped Mandy Rose. I don't even know if she was in the car. We don't know where she really was. Blah, 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 blah. So that 6-woman tag team match they were supposed to have is off. Oh, well. So we got that. And then we had Carmelo Hayes beating Oro Menza in about 5.5 minutes. Match was alright. Nothing great. That's that. Then we had Brutus Creed. It's not clear to compete because of his injured shoulder, which is really looked really bad. Bruised up, disgusting. So he's getting checked out by the trainer and Julius and Ivy Nile. Duke Hudson, of all people, come in, starts laughing at him like he did last week. Gets a match with Julius as a result, which didn't sit well for Mr. Duke Hudson, because that ended really quick. Julius gets the win, but I'll get more on that in a minute. But before that, we get a North American qualifying match. Von Wagner and Andre Chase of Chase U. Carmelo Hayes on commentary. Von Wagner wins with a Death Valley Bomb at 3.5 minutes, so he qualifies. He's the 4th participant in that 5-way match. Just don't know who the mystery person is yet. Which I think is going to be either Ben Frazier and A-Kid or Axiom, because they're going to fight next week to see who actually takes that final spot. Doesn't matter who both of them could be in it. I don't give a shit. So get that. So Von Wagner wins, and then after the match, Wes Lee jumps Carmelo Hayes, and they have to be pulled apart by 3 referees. Okay, we were security. That's all I got to say about that. All right, then we go to the back. Songo wishes Nathan Frazier luck in his qualifying match with Axiom. And then Ben Fraser leaves, or Nathan Fraser leaves, and then of all people, Veer Mahan comes to NXT. Didn't take him 12 weeks this time. And he stares at Songas, and they're going to be reuniting as Indus Shear. So there you go. Alright, after that, we get to Lash Legend. Get shit done! She's ready for her match with Wendy Choo Choo! That wasn't really a good match. But before that, we have Oh, I Did It! Grayson Waller coming into the parking lot in a yellow Jeep. And security's waiting for him. And he tells him, deal with Apollo Crews' visions. So we're going to get the Grayson Waller Effect talk show coming up with, who was on the show? Roxy and Corey Jade. Blah, blah, blah. So we'll get that. All right, then we got the Wendy Choo Choo and Lash Legend. Boring as fuck match that was. Wendy wins with a top rope Vader bomb. Okay, that's pretty much it. I don't know why they're making Lash Legend a jobber. Both of them are jobbers. I could care less for the match. Not that. Alright, then we got Wes Lee ready for Halloween Havoc, but he wants Grayson Waller first, because he's already qualified for the North American title match, but he wants Grayson Waller in a match. And he's going to have to set up for a match in next week against Lorenzo, otherwise known as Stax. And basically, Lorenzo says, hey, my friends are gone, but I'm going to get my revenge on you. I mean, what he did to Tony D last week, even though it wasn't his fault. And we got that. Alright. Then we got Gallus promising to come back, and they're coming from Braun Breaker. Okay. Not coming from Briggs and Jensen? Okay. Alright, then we got Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Not only they are different, they were great together, and they look good together. That. Then we got a number one contenders match. Toxic Attraction taking on Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. Zoe and Nikita win after the jumping split splash from Nikita. They get the win. They're the new number one contenders for the tag team belts. Obviously, that was going to happen. Because Toxic Attraction may be going up to the main roster pretty soon. Look at that. All right, then we got a segment with Ilya Dragunov. He's ready for JD McDonough and Braun Breaker at Halloween Havoc in the triple threat NXT title match. And that's pretty much it. All right, then we get Grayson Waller with Roxy and Corey Jade. They go back and forth. They're on Instagram and everything. And then we get a spin the wheel, make the deal match coming up at Halloween Havoc. They spin the wheel. We don't know who that guy is in the, looked like a druid. Grayson goes to check on him and he's like, he thought it was Apollo Crews, but it was some white guy. No, not being racial there, but anyway. So they spin the wheel and it lands on a Weapons Wild match. So basically a weapons match, hardcore weapons match between Roxy and Corey Jade at Halloween Havoc in a couple weeks. So there you go. And then after the match, they fight a little bit. They fight, and Grayson Waller goes right to the back, but he gets pulled underneath the ring by Apollo Crews. And then Waller comes out from underneath the ring. His eyes are all bloody. Like, it looks sick. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ! And, basically, Apollo's like, where you going, dude? And Waller looks like a scared puppy. That's it, but this feud continues on. I could probably see some type of gimmick match for them. I don't think Spin the Wheel make the deal, but I don't know. We'll see. That's pretty much it. So that was a pretty good segment. All right, then we hear Joe Gacy and Schism yelling at that red hooded person. We don't know if it's a woman, it was a kid, it was a guy. I don't know who it is, but they were outside. You know, they were giving out like those smiley things and pins and stuff. And basically, Joe Gacy yelled at them, saying, "You failed your mission. You need to do better." And then we see like the red hooded person go, "Damn." We still don't know who that person is. It's probably not Cameron Grimes. But I think it's because it's like a skinny person. So people saying it's a woman, but who? Maybe it's Nikki Cross. I don't know. I mean, they got to do something with Nikki Asshole. We can put her back in NXT. We put her under a red hood. Why not? She was a superhero. Now she's not. Now she's Red Riding Hood. Whatever. All right, so we got that. And we move on from there. All right, then we go to Julius Creed and Duke Hudson. Julius wins in 48 goddamn seconds. So we got that. Afterwards, Brutus comes out, starts beating up on Duke Hudson for no apparent reason. You know, Julius is like, stop it! What are you doing, dude? And then Damon Kemp pops up on the platform, says it's going to be different at Halloween Havoc, and basically gives Julius gives the Creed brothers an ultimatum. He says, Julius, if you can beat me at Halloween Havoc, Brutus can get another match with me. And Brutus is like, I only need 5 minutes with you. Get one of those matches. But Damon's like, no. If Julius does not win, you're out of NXT. So Brutus says, I accept. And Julius is like, what? Dude, what? And then Julius is like, well, you know, I'm gonna up the stakes. I'm gonna make it an old-fashioned Mike Awesome. Get in here, Mike. I mean, you know, you're the leader of this match. It's gonna be an ambulance match, Mike. What? I'm the innovator of that match. Why is he doing that? I don't know, Mike. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna get the Dragon Balls on to come down from heaven. And I'm gonna kick Julius's ass just for Damon Kemp. Because nobody can do the ambulance match like me. Not even Scott Steiner. Right on, Mike. Ridiculous ambulance match just to end the career. Go figure that one out. Just to break up the Creed brothers. Yeah, I know. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I gotta end this really quick because I got things to do. Alright, JD McDonough is ready for Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker at Halloween Havoc. And then we see Hank Walker Security for firing up. He's got a match with Zion Quinn, which he wins. Obviously. And then Quincy Elliott, you know, the fat version of the Velveteen Dream, cheers him on, and then he went after Hank Walker wins the match. They beat him up. Zion Quinn beats him up, and then Quincy comes in for the save, and then they clear the ring, and then Quincy smacks Hank Walker's ass. Gay. And that's pretty much it. Alright, Cameron Grimes comes up to the red-hooded person with a warning about Joe Gacy, and then Schism beats him down, and then he praised the hooded person, like, you did a good job. I did a good job. And that's pretty much it. Still don't know the identity. Alright, after that, Jensen and Briggs and Malik Blade and Idris Enofe, they start fight. They basically give the Brawling Brutes a pep talk, and they want the title shot. They want the title shot. Ridiculous. Alright, and Braun Breaker's ready for Halloween Havoc, but next week he's going to face Javier Bernal. In a garbage match. Nobody cares. Then the main event, the Brawling Brutes versus Pretty Deadly for the tag belts. Crazy, chaotic match. Imperium getting involved near the end of the match, or after the match. The Yes Boys get the win to retain with Spilled Milk to retain. And that's it. After match, Imperium comes out. They have a big, humongous brawl, and that ends NXT. But NXT was kind of mid, and I gave it 5.5 out of 10 stars. And that's pretty much it. So, that's all I got to say about that. Thanks you all for watching. One final comment. What you watching later, Pete? You're watching Rampage and Battle of the Belts. Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch Battle of the Belts. Probably on delay, and then Rampage later. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peter Gomez signing off. Adios, bitches. Here, can I get it? Bye. Stupid freaking phone.